Before I present my address regarding the response to His Majesty the President's address, I'd like to make a few remarks. First, I would like to ask a question to the members of the House. Are we being honest? Are we being honest here in saying things that we are currently saying in this House? The statement that we give, especially the opposition. We just got a statement from Alvik Maraj, whereby he stated that Honorable H.E Ratu is the best leader to lead this nation. Is he honest? Even the honorable member can even hold on to 12 or 13 members of his party. How can he lead the nation? So please be honest of what we say. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Following the consultation of the cover bill conducted across Viti Levu and Wonwa Levu, I am honored and proud to inform this August House of the overwhelming support shown by the people who attended these consultation meetings. The level of engagement and encouragement demonstrated by our farmers, community leaders, and members of the public clearly reflects the strong interest and confidence that they have in this government and its efforts to strengthen and regulate our Yangona industry. Honorable Speaker, sir, it is only fair and prudent that we acknowledge the villages, communities, and the Vanua for their support, enthusiasm, and the warm Fijian hospitality extended in the consultation teams throughout the process. Allow me, sir, to acknowledge the people of Netasiri province, in particular the villages of Nabidini, Ngali, Waindina, Puna, Ngoni Nidolo, Lutu, Telombau, Moira, Mbombudo, and Noimalu. For the province of Seru and Namosi, I wish to acknowledge the cover farmers and communities of Wanyau, Wanikoreluba, and Nuku and Venunga. For my own province of Nandronga Nabosa, I acknowledge with gratitude the farmers and the communities of Nukuilau, Nasikawa, Noikoro, Namataku, and Navatusila. In the province of Mba, in the village of Bukuya, Mangondro, Galia Latina, Naloto, Nalotawa, and Savatu. I also extend my appreciation to our Tabu in the province of Ra, particularly the villages of Nanukuloa, Saibu, Nalawa, and Nakurutumbu. In Vanuatu, from the province of Mboa, I acknowledge the farmers and the communities of Kumbulau, Wainunu, Nandi, Buya, Dama, Lekutu, and Solevu. In Maduata, I extend my appreciation to the villages and communities of Nreketi Lelai, Unangalotu, Loma, Sianganga, Nambiti, Nakanadangi, and Welevu. In the Konrobe, I acknowledge the communities of Aroi, Kortasere, and finally the districts of Tukavesi, Somsomo, and Wuna. Honorable Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Agriculture and Waterways and the sugar industry is sincerely grateful for the hospitality extended to our teams and, more importantly, for the active participation and valuable contribution made by our farmers and stakeholders during the cover bill consultation process. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank the cover bill consultation team for their dedication, commitment, and endurance throughout what was a very demanding exercise. I commend the drivers, the secretariat, the media team, the technical staff, and a consultant, Ms. Rosaline Iluaningila. Despite the long journey by road, the rough seas, the cold early mornings, and the long days of consultation, the team remained focused and resilient, and together we were able to successfully accomplish our mission. For that, I say Vinavalevu to each and every one of you. Honorable Speaker, sir, the Honorable Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Ministers, or Leader of Opposition, and Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, and ladies and gentlemen. On Speaker, sir, I rise to respond to His Excellency the President's address and the opening of the 2026 session of the Parliament of the Republic of Fiji, and to outline the operational progress and forward agenda of the Ministry of Agriculture, Waterways, and Sugar Industry. Honorable Speaker, sir, the President has reminded us that agriculture remains central to livelihoods, food security, and economic transformation. For our ministry, this is not an abstract policy statement. It is a daily operational responsibility. Honorable Speaker, sir, please allow me to extend our deepest condolences to the late Mrs. Tanya Vakaloloma, our Senior Technical Assistant, based at the Langalanga Research Station, who tragically drowned on Sunday at the Sambeto River. Our commitment to public service was evident in our active involvement in the Junkau and Mushroom Project at our research station, and she exemplified our leadership grounded with values, tradition, and service. Our legacy of public duty and community devotion continues to inspire the farmers, and the ministry mourns the loss of a daughter who walked the path of service with humility and wisdom. Honorable Speaker, sir, the ministry will always be committed to the welfare of its officers, and may her memory be in the hearts of all those whom she had served and worked alongside. Honorable Speaker, sir, over the past, our focus has been practical delivery, strengthening production, supporting farmers, modernizing systems, and ensuring that growth translates into resilience and income security for our people. Honorable Speaker, sir, in responding to His Excellency address, it is important to recognize that since session, agriculture has played a foundational role in the nation's development. From the early establishment of commercial crops such as sugar under the Colonial Sugar Refinery Company, to the growth of indigenous farming enterprises supported by institutions like the Fiji Sugar Corporation, the agriculture sector has sustained livelihood generated, export earnings, and strengthened rural communities. Beyond sugar, the expansion of crops such as copra, cocoa, root crops, and more recently horticulture and livestock industries has enhanced food security, created employment, and supported small and medium enterprises. Agriculture has not only fed our people, but it also contributed significantly to infrastructure, development, trade, and overall economic resilience, firmly establishing farming as a cornerstone of national progress alongside education, health, transport, energy, and communication. In strengthening its commitment to climate-smart farming practices through integrated soil and land management initiatives, the ministry is actively promoting the use of organic liquid compost, soil conditioners, and regenerating farming techniques to ensure soil structure, increase water retention capacity, and improve resilience against severe droughts and intense rainfall. These measures are complemented by targeted programs aimed at reducing land degradation, restoring soil fertility, and encouraging sustainable land use planning through farmer training, demonstration programs, and the adoption of innovative and adaptive technologies. We are equipping our agriculture communities with practical solutions to safeguard productivity under climate change conditions. Collectively, these interventions are improving livelihoods, stabilizing food production, reinforcing agriculture as a resilient and enduring pillar of the national economy. and continue to contribute to the development of our nation. Honorable Speaker, sir, in response to His Excellency address, the non-sugar agriculture sector, under the leadership of the Ministry of Agriculture, Waterways and Sugar Industry, has placed renewed emphasis on productivity, climate resilience, and comprehensive farmer support as central pillars of national development. Through the production of climate-smart farming practices, strengthened land and water management system, and the adoption of innovative and adaptive technologies, the Ministry is safeguarding livelihoods while enhancing food security. Honorable Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Agriculture and Waterways and Sugar Industry reaffirmed its strong commitment to advancing climate-smart agriculture through the adoption of innovative and adaptive technologies. The Ministry is proactive advancing protected agriculture systems, including the development of plastic houses to safeguard crop production against extreme weather events and enhance year-round productivity. The initiative aims to reduce reliance on inputs while meeting domestic consumption needs and the tourism sector's demands. We are expanding smart agriculture initiatives by deploying drone technology to enhance crop monitoring, precision agriculture, and data-driven decision-making. Honorable Speaker, sir, in alignment with the Excellency's address, the Ministry of Agriculture, Waterways and Sugar Industry is advancing a strategic approach to strengthen agricultural resilience and safeguard livelihoods through the targeted promotion of resilient crop varieties. Recognizing the value of traditional crop species that have consistently withstood climate variability and local pest pressures, we are prioritizing our conservation, multiplication, and reintroduction alongside carefully selected improved hybrids. The balanced approach enhances food security, stabilizes production, and reduces farmers' vulnerability to external shocks. At the same time, the Ministry is scaling up mass production and distribution of high-quality planting materials and certified seeds for high-value commodities such as kava, turmeric, and ginger, thereby improving productivity, quality standards, and market competitiveness. Through strengthened research partnership, nursery expansion, and farmer support programs, these initiatives are directly contributing to improve household incomes, greater food system stability, and the sustained role of agriculture as a key pillar of our national economy. Honorable Speaker, sir, the Ministry is actively advancing the adoption of nature-based seawall as a strategic alternative to conventional coastal protection infrastructure, recognizing the increasing vulnerability of our coastal communities to erosion, storm surges, and sea level rise. The Ministry is integrating hybrid shoreline protection system that combine natural materials, ecosystem, restoration, and traditional knowledge with appropriate engineering solutions. Through the restoration of mangroves, the re-establishment of native coastal vegetation, the incorporation of locally sourced materials, this initiative enhances biodiversity, strengthens natural wave attenuation, and provide a cost-effective long-term coastal defense. The approach not only reduces resilience on hard concrete structures, but also supports sustainable livelihood, safeguards agricultural land, and reinforces the reliance of our waterways and sugar-producing regions. By embedding nature-based solutions into national coastal management planning, The ministry is delivering practical, community-centered, and environmentally responsibility infrastructure that responds directly to His Excellency's call for innovative and climate-smart development. Honorable Speaker, sir, the Minister has also prioritized establishing agroecology sites as practical demonstration farms that promote organic and climate-resilient farming systems while strengthening farmer-to-farmer knowledge exchange. These sites serve as a living classroom where sustainable land management, soil regeneration, integrated pest management, and diversified cropping system are demonstrated and adapted to local conditions. By integrating these sites within targeted investment in rural infrastructure, such as improved irrigation, farm access roads, and post-harvest facilities, the ministry ensures that sustainability initiatives are grounded in practical applications and accessible to rural communities. Furthermore, structured training programs, technical advisory service, and partnership with research institutions and development partners are embedded within these sites to build farmers' capacity, enhance productivity, and improve market readiness. Through this holistic approach, agroecology sites are not only advancing environmental stewardship, but also strengthening rural livelihoods, food security, and long-term agricultural resilience. Honorable Speaker, sir, in line with His Excellency's vision for sustainable development and economic resilience, the ministry is championing the use of water-efficient irrigation technologies such as drip and sprinkler systems. These modern methods minimize water wastage and improve irrigation efficiency, leading to higher crop yields and reduced production costs for farmers. By promoting greater efficiency and sustainability, the initiative strengthens food security through more stable agricultural output, while also enhance farmers' income and building more resilient farming systems. Through these efforts, the ministry is reinforcing agriculture's role as a strong and sustainable foundation of the national economy, supporting long-term growth and responsible environmental stewardship. Honorable Speaker, sir, operational efficiency, transparency, and value for money remain at the core of our ministry's implementation framework. We are strengthening monitoring and evaluation system to ensure that public resources directly benefit farmers and rural communities. Every dollar spent must translate into increased productivity, reduced vulnerability, and improve rural incomes. Honorable Speaker, agriculture is more than just an industry. It underpins rural livelihoods, ensures food security, preserves cultural heritage, and strengthens a nation's resilience. These past 3 years have demonstrated that when policy direction is matched by operational discipline, measurable progress follows. This year will demand even greater coordination, innovation, and partnership with farmers, landowners, the private sector, and development partners. In responding to the Excellency's address, I reaffirm the Ministry's commitment to delivering practical and measurable outcomes that improve livelihood and strengthen the agricultural backbone of our beloved nation. Nabalebu, sir.